talking government procurement with a crazy bill thrown in.
The year is coming to an end. On that note, Season 2 of The Big Bid Theory is winding down as well. I'm Bill Colhane, along with Tony Callis. We hope you and yours had a happy Thanksgiving. One thing we're thankful for is the show continues to climb the ranks, at least in iHeart's rankings. As a matter of fact, last week we enjoyed our highest ranking of all time. Of course, and Tony and I talk about this all the time, we fully acknowledge that's because of you. So thank you. Tony, it makes us feel good to see our podcast ranked among the elite.
Yes, it does. Puts a smile on my face for sure.
It does. Now, in this episode, for the first time ever, and admittedly the podcast, we're just wrapping up our second season, but we have a return guest from last season. It's the first time we've done that on the show, and by the way, this season, we've had some amazing guests. Our guest is an absolute expert on what it takes to prepare your business and to pursue and win government business. I guess that last piece is important. Tony will have a crazy bids, and we'll have more excitement during the show as well. And now our guest. If you're not sure what you need to do to pursue business in the public sector, heck, even if you're pursuing government contracts, but maybe things aren't going as well as you would like, remember, do not forget that you have your local PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center, available. Our guest, Terri Williams, is the director of the PTAC office in San Antonio, Texas. She was on last season and has even more important information to share this time around.
Terri, thanks again for joining us here on the Big Bid Theory, and let's get right to it. As it relates to government purchasing, pursuing government contracts, those kinds of things, Terri, what does PTAC do for small businesses?
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me once again. PTAC is Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and specifically what I would say is different than other resource centers for small businesses is that we provide one-on-one individual business counseling as well as training. Specifically, I should say, that training is geared towards government contracting. So we're talking federal government, state government, and local government, really working them through that maze of documents, of getting on computer lists and signing in and logging in, and all of that's necessary to do business with the government.
And that's a comment we get from a number of people, is just understanding what to do and when to do it. Those are big challenges. Now, particularly with you being in San Antonio, Terri, which we all know San Antonio is a military town. It's so important to take care of our veterans, the services, the sacrifices that they've given to our country. What are some special services or things to know specific to veteran-owned businesses, Terri?
Well, not only have we been providing services for those who want to contract with the government, we've also been providing services over the past 5 years for veteran-owned businesses and for veterans who are looking to transition out of active military duty and become a business owner or see what it takes to become a business owner. We've been fortunate enough to have financial support from J.P. Morgan Chase Foundation for this program. So services that specialize to veterans, we actually partner as well with the SBA, the Small Business Administration, to administer a program called Boot to Business. And that's a transition type program where we actually go on to the military bases and conduct sessions in conjunction with their TAP classes, the TAP program, Transition Assistance Program. So these are services where we provide information on how to start a business, what it takes to start a business. Do you really think you want to start a business? So that when they actually get out of the military, they already have that information, and they can then come to us and we can continue that assistance in getting them started. So additionally, if there are veteran-owned businesses that's already started, they've been in business for a while, and they want to do business with the VA, the Veterans Administration, then there's a special certification called VetBiz certification that helps them do business with the VA.
Important information. And Terri, I know Tony has a couple of questions for you as well.
Yeah, this is Tony Callis with the Big Bid Theory, and we have the pleasure of Terri Williams, Director of PTAC in San Antonio, joining us again this year. Terri, since you visited the Big Bid Theory a year ago, in your opinion, what are some changes that are important for businesses to consider right now?
It seems like this year, and not just this year, but over the past maybe year and a half, the code phrase or key thing for businesses to look out for is cybersecurity. So we have been promoting a cybersecurity small business awareness program, making small businesses more aware of making that a priority, knowing that they need to make that a priority. It's not just enough to, have some virus software on your computer, but they also need to train employees on changing passwords, on securing information, on making sure they limit accessibility to their computer data systems to just certain employees, those employees that need to know, those that actually need that information, letting them know that not everyone needs all the passwords to certain areas. Not everyone in your business needs to have administrative rights. So those are some of the things actually across the nation that we have been partnering with some of our other PTACs and small business development centers and Department of Commerce, trying to get that word out to the small business community before it's too late and they get hacked or their data gets compromised, and then there goes their business. Because there have been some cases where small businesses have had to shut down because of that. So that's something new that we have been actively promoting over the past year or so. The federal government has also instituted requirements based on NIST, N-I-S-T, National Institute of Standards and Technology, that have developed requirements for those that want to do business with the federal government. They must meet certain cybersecurity requirements.
And as we know, our previous guest, Lance Hayden, former CIA operative, definitely brought up that fact, about cybersecurity and how it is the next big threat to businesses in general. And, those are some great points that you bring up. I did also want to ask, because I'm clueless about this as well, what is the HUBZone program?
HUBZone program, this program has been around for at least, I would say, probably 10 years. Now, a lot of times folks would get it confused with the HUB program, which is the HUB program is a program that utilizes or that tries to provide opportunities for historically underutilized businesses in contracting with the state of Texas or other organizations. The HUBZone program is basically a what you might call an economic development type revitalization program that caters to really give consideration to businesses that locate in a certain part of the community. Basically, those communities in urban areas that have high populations of unemployment and that really need jobs to come into the area. So that zone portion of HUBZone is based on a business having 33% of their employees that live in certain census tracts, as well as based on where that company is headquartered as well. So HUBZone again is a program that certifies businesses based on where their employees live and based on where the business is located. Now, what's the benefit of being located in the HUBZone? If a business located in the HUBZone and they are bidding on a federal contract, then they will receive additional points in reviewing that bid. They'll receive additional review points that can help them, that could potentially help them win a federal contract. That's basically the benefit of the HUBZone program, and why it was instituted is really to bring some type of economic development relief to urban communities in the form of jobs to those that live in the community and business revitalization.
Terri, this is Bill again. Sounds like a great program. Thanks for the update on that, because I had some confusion as well, because there are so many programs, so many initiatives out there. And Terri, you know this. I know you understand, and many of our listeners are aware that we are unapologetic fans of PTAC, and with the services that you folks offer, really as a business, there isn't a reason or reasons to not pursue government business because you don't know, you don't understand. So again, kudos to you folks there at PTAC. Now, let me ask you this, Terri. How do business owners find their local PTAC office? What are the costs associated? What are the typical wait times to get scheduled for appointments to get into your local PTAC? And I understand that's an approximation, and I'm sure it varies depending on the PTAC office across the country.
Right, and there are approximately 98 PTAC offices across the country. The best way for a company to find out where the nearest one to them is located is to go to the PTAC website. That's APTAC-US.org. To go to that website, that home page will bring up a map of the United States. All they have to do is click on that state, and it'll give them the list, a list of the PTACs and the field offices located in that state. And then basically all they have to do is give them a call, or some PTACs might have a form or a general email box where they can just go there and request an appointment. Here in our office, and of course, they vary across the country, but in our office, we like to work by appointment, basically because that's more efficient for our staff time as well as for the business owner, because then they come in prepared. However, we do have a mechanism where if they just want some brief information or just need to know what they need to bring to an appointment, they can just walk in and see an advisor that's available on that particular day that they walk in. What are the costs? We like to say it's prepaid because our funding comes from the federal government through the Defense Logistics Agency, through the Small Business Administration, through the Texas Department of Transportation for an additional program that we run there or under that area, as well as the state of Texas. There might be some minimal costs just for some of the training sessions that we conduct, and when I say minimal, basically $30 to cover that expense. But again, we like to say it's prepaid. So we tell folks, take advantage of what you've already paid for through your tax dollars.
Amen, Terri. So just to kind of recap, if you're a business out there, particularly a small business, and you want to grow, well, you have PTAC, a tremendous resource available. And let's not forget, U.S. governments are the number one customer, not in North America, not on this side of the equator, in the world. So yeah. I'm not the smartest guy, but it seems like it makes sense to at least investigate if you're a small business, find out what you need to know. And Terri, as always, we appreciate you coming by. I do want to remind our listeners that the URL, the website that Terri mentioned a moment ago, we will have that URL included in the description of the podcast. So business owners out there, investigate, find out what you need to know. Terri, on behalf of our listeners, thanks for coming by.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
again for
Terri.
having me, Bill and Tony.
Thanks again to Terri Williams, such a helpful person leading a team of helpful professionals down there in San Antonio. I know I'm repeating myself, but avail yourself of PTAC's services. As Terri mentioned, you heard her just a moment ago, you're already paying for it. And by the way, and I know I pointed this out, the URL and contact info are in the description of the podcast. Tony, you're on the phone with businesses all of the time, and I know you've spoken with some business leaders, whether it's the owner, CEO, salespeople. Maybe they're struggling in figuring out exactly what the approach should be in pursuing government business. Well, PTAC is an incredible resource.
I agree. I mean, it's the baseline to providing a initial bid. I mean, in order to appropriate an official proposal, you have to generate it properly in order to be accepted and even considered. So it's definitely something to consider for all businesses out there.
Yeah, and Terri and her folks in San Antonio, and that's just, of course, one PTAC office. We've established that. They can kind of help you with that template because, as Tony said, if you're making the same mistake or mistakes over and over again, that could be a reason why you're not winning that business that potentially could be a game changer for your company. Tony, it's now that time of the show where everyone kind of gathers around to see what we've come up with next. What is going on in the crazy bids landscape?
I found this interesting for all you gunslingers out there, you creative folks. The Army is actually looking for new technology to have the ability to actually pull the projectile portion of a bullet from a 7.62 millimeter round officially from the round without damaging either the casing or the round. Just thought this was very interesting. It's good that the Army's keeping up with technology and always advancing because it keeps us on top. And thought that would be a great share with our community out there because I know there's a ton of firearm contractors out there as well as bidders that go after bids of this nature.
Okay, I'm going to add that to my list of things I didn't know. I didn't know there was such a thing as a bullet puller.
Yes, indeed.
Very interesting. So, thanks to everybody for downloading, sharing, and following The Big Bid Theory. As you know, we also reside on Facebook and LinkedIn. Please connect with us there, dear friends, if you could take a moment to do so. The emails continue to roll in. I'm over at bculhane@bidprime.com, or Tony, his email address is tcallis@bidprime.com. On Twitter, we are at The Big Bid Theory. That makes things easy. My Twitter handle is contract_hunter. Tony goes by at Anthony Callis. Once again, many thanks to Terri Williams at the PTAC office down in the Alamo City. On behalf of our TBBT staff, adding PTAC to their Rolodexes as we speak. For Tony Callis, I'm Bill Culhane. Until next time, go Gunners, Barracudas, Tigers, Bobcats, and Cubs, and we wish you all the best in growing your business.
Talking government procurement.